If you or someone you know are currently struggling with high blood pressure, then this episode is for you, because today I'm going to share with you my story of having high blood pressure and what I did to stop with medications completely. Let's get into today's episode. To my health overall, I haven't had any conditions besides dealing with the fibroids, but what I could say when it comes to my health, it's always been pretty consistent and great according to the doctor's reports. Now, leading up to my pregnancy, I had what was called gestational hypertension. So that's when women are dealing with high blood pressure, and this could be very concerning, especially leading up to delivery. So they were monitoring me very frequently, like I was getting checkups a lot, especially leading up to my C-section. And it was also brought to my attention that this wasn't the first time I dealt with high blood pressure. Now, this was the first time it was brought to my attention, but apparently, according to doctor's reports, I had chronic hypertension. So I had like a steady case of high blood pressure going to my doctor visits, but no one brought it to my attention. I always thought that my blood pressure was normal. And then another doctor was saying that sometimes it depends on the doctor's viewpoint of what is considered a high blood pressure. But right now, since I was pregnant, this was a very serious case. So they were monitoring me, and after pregnancy, my blood pressure was still up, and they continued to monitor me to the point that they gave me some blood pressure medicine. If I could be honest with you, when they prescribed me the medicine, I was not a happy camper. I believe there's a time and a place for medicine, but me and my mindset, I was just believing that the Lord is my healer, and if surely other people don't have to be on medicine, then why should I? And so I already knew that I wasn't going to be on this long, and I just didn't want to take it to begin with. And so once I started making these changes that I'm about to share with you, then that's when everything shifted. So let's get into these. The first thing that I did was I needed to shift my mindset. The doctors were already telling me, based on my family history of them dealing with high blood pressure, that this is just a thing that's passed on to me. And then also there's a lot of pregnant women that experience gestational hypertension. But knowing this completely changed my mindset, because if they experience, it doesn't make it acceptable for me to go through the same thing. And so I just knew from the very beginning that I wasn't going to stay on this medication, and I wasn't going to be like my family or anyone else that have experienced this. And so I knew from the beginning that I was going to make the necessary changes that I needed to make in order to get the result that I wanted to see. The second thing that I did was I gave it to God. I was like, Lord, I know that I'm healed, because according to your word, you already said that I'm healed, but where am I lacking? Where can I do better when it comes to my diet and everything? What am I constantly thinking about? I repent, but Father, please help me with getting back on track, because I really want to get off this medication. And then also giving it to God, it looked like every doctor visit, I would say, Lord, have your way. Like I would go to my appointment like a few minutes earlier just to pray, and then like after the nurse get your vitals and everything, and then they step out before the doctor come in, I will say another prayer in the environment before the doctor came in, and I would do that consistently, and that helped me a lot. The third thing that helped me a lot was paying attention to my sodium intake and reducing it. So paying attention to my canned foods that has sodium and cutting down on that, as well as cooking more at home. So even when I would eat healthy meals in the restaurants, it never dawned on me like how much salt they could be putting into my food to begin with. And then once you get the plate and you add a little bit of salt to like improve the flavor and everything, that could be more sodium that you're adding. So to avoid it all, I just started like cooking more at home. So the fourth thing that I did is working out. So I already do that, of course, but I started to be like more intentional with how much I worked out. So beforehand, I was just sticking to a certain schedule, but then I also realized that even after I eat on my resting days, I don't move as much as I could, not compared to my workout days, but I could still add some more movement. And so I started to make sure I incorporate some more walking days in between time of my eating, and that greatly improved as well. The next thing was all about paying attention to my stress levels and giving myself more audits. So just making sure that I wasn't like stressed out over anything that happened throughout the day, anything from past work, or when you start thinking of stuff and then it causes stress and you're not really realizing how much effect it can happen on your body. So really being mindful with all of my thoughts and experiences and taking account for that as well. Another thing that I did was I went to the store and I got myself a blood pressure machine, and I would monitor myself every day, and I kept a track of that and put it in my health app. And this also helped with showing the numbers to my doctor, but this also helped to keep me accountable to see how I ate the day before or something, and kind of see the trends like that. And this also helped me with being mindful with my foods as well. So friends, after I stayed consistent with these and I started to see the results I wanted to see, my blood pressure improved greatly. Like, it really dropped to a great number, and I was so happy. And I recorded all of my results in my health app, so every time I would go to the doctor every 4 to 8 weeks, I would show him my trends and just let him compare the results to what was happening in the office. Now, unfortunately, every time I would go to the office, there's this thing called the white coat syndrome, where you're in the presence of the healthcare professionals and your numbers want to act crazy in front of them. And it would make it seem like I was lying, but I had my proof in my phone that those were my actual numbers. And so what one nurse did, which I started requesting ever since then, what she did for me was she hooked me up to the blood pressure machine, and she turned the lights off and she stepped out for a few minutes, and she did an average reading of my blood pressure, and they were able to capture my actual blood pressure results. And yeah, so that was one visit. And then the second time I had another nurse, and she went through the whole thing pretty fast, but I requested that she would turn off the lights and do what the previous nurse did. And so after doing that, they were able to see my numbers, and he was able to see that my numbers were closely aligned to the numbers that I had in my phone. And so I was able to get off my medicine. So beautiful. That is my quick story of how the Lord is so good, and He is doing great things for me and for you. If you need additional nutritional coaching, or you just need some accountability and you're like, you know what, I think you could be my person, then click the link below and let's get started to nourish our temples the way the Lord intended. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye, beautiful.